Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Badger Breakdown. I'm Mike Lucas for UWBadgers.com. I'm joined by Matt Lepay, the voice of the Badgers. Once again, it almost seems like we're reading from the same script. After a heartbreaking loss, how will this team bounce back? Will it show resiliency against Purdue?
Yeah, you know what? Last week I wasn't too worried about the emotional state. It was more physical, just coming off a game like Michigan State. Now, it might be a little bit of both. I still think these players are equipped to handle this. Not that any of them really wants to, but I think when you lose two games like this, I haven't seen anything quite like it. I don't think you have.
No.
We've seen things maybe close. 96, they lost a series of real gut-wrenching games. But I think you keep your eye out for a little bit of both, but at the same time, might sound crazy to some people, but it's a fact. They're still in the chase. They're still in the chase, but they need to help themselves on Saturday.
Well, you still have to keep your eyes on the prize. More so, you have to keep your eyes on Purdue. That's the next opponent.
Yeah.
You have to prove to yourself, maybe, and a lot of other people, that you won't be suffering from that same hangover. If, in fact, it was, and I'm not sure it was. You mentioned the script, or at least I did, and how both those games followed a kind of a familiar pattern. The thing about it has to be frustrating is that they rallied in the fourth quarter both times to take the lead.
And a good start. You know, they took the lead. They scored first last week. It was a slugfest, 7-3 at the half, but that would suggest that maybe there wasn't any kind of a hangover. It would strongly suggest that, to be able to score first against Ohio State. And then, you know, where the second quarter was bad against Michigan State, the third quarter was bad against Ohio State. But you're right. They rallied both times. They showed that ability to get off the canvas. Unfortunately, there was, you know, in the case of last week, a breakdown on the punt coverage. It was a line drive, or excuse me, on the kickoff coverage, a line drive kickoff, so a couple broken tackles, maybe more than a couple, and then obviously the big mistake at the end. But again, if you're these guys, I think that they stay pretty much in the moment in our conversations with them, and they're going to need to be that way this week.
Both Michigan State and Ohio State really came after Russell Wilson. I mean, it's no secret, if you want to try to slow down the Badgers offensively, you have to do something with the quarterback. And Wilson was really challenged for the first time by the Spartans and then again by the Buckeyes. And yet we go back to what we were just talking about. He had the resiliency to lead the offense back into the game in the fourth quarter both times.
Yeah, it's easy to note that Wisconsin did not run the ball well against Ohio State. We have seen stretches where they have struggled to run the ball against defenses that are not the caliber of an Ohio State or not the caliber of Michigan State, but they've had an answer. Keep in mind, they scored 31 and 29 points in these last two ball games against pretty good defenses. Michigan State, one of the best in the country. Ohio State's been a very good defense for a while. Is it as good this year as it's been the last 5 or 6? No, but it's still pretty strong. They score late, but they do score the points. 31 and 29, that's usually enough in this league to win.
Two really super efforts got overshadowed by the Saturday night loss. One on offense, one on defense. On offense, Jared Abbrederis, his overall play, and on defense, Mike Taylor with 22 tackles.
Yeah, Jared Abbrederis, again, in the clutch, the receiving end of both of those Russell Wilson touchdown passes in the fourth quarter. His ability as a punt return man, his really turning into one of the better receivers in the league. You know, I think, you know, the walk-on story, as we've said before, that the cuteness of that's gone. He is a legit Big Ten receiver, and one who at least needs to be in the conversation right now for some postseason recognition. Mike Taylor had a game, you look at the tackle stats, similar to, as we talked earlier in the week with Scott Nelson, the former Badger free safety, and some others. He and Chris Borland have been playing well in tandem, and Kevin Claxton too, I can't forget him, but I think Mike Taylor is someone, it's fun to see a healthy Mike Taylor out there. We thought we could see something like this, and we are, and maybe a little bit better than some people expected.
Now, here's what happened in Ohio State. Badgers lost control of, quote unquote, their destiny. Now they're going to have to rely on somebody else to help them down the stretch, as long as they help themselves starting here Saturday.
Yeah, that's the key. And what the simplest formula, if you want to call it simple, is for Ohio State to lose one more game, and Penn State needs to lose once before it comes here. Then it's all back into the Badgers' hands. Purdue, this is a cliche, up and down team, and that's exactly what it's been. It wins one, it loses one, it wins one, it loses one. It lost last week in Michigan. But there's enough there, I think, especially on defense. That front four, Kawan Short, defensive tackle, they can move him around a little bit. The linebackers, Joe Holland has been very, very good in his time at Purdue, having a really good season. Capable. Is it a great team? No. But it's capable, and maybe it views this group back here as a little bit vulnerable too. So maybe that fires up the Boilermakers a little bit.
Well, nobody's quite sure yet who's in the leaders and who's in the legends. The one thing divisional play has done, it's kept a lot of teams alive, and that's what we've been talking about.
It's going to be a great race. Is there a national championship team out of this league? No. But I think you have the makings for great theater in the legends with Michigan, Michigan State, Iowa, Nebraska all in the fight. In the leaders division with Penn State, it isn't pretty, but it wins, so it must be doing a lot of really good things on defense and just enough on offense. Ohio State is now back into the chase. Wisconsin is very much still in the chase.
Thanks, Matt.
Absolutely.
For Matt Lepay, I'm Mike Lucas. Thanks for watching Badger Breakdown on UWBadgers.com.